What's up, guys? All right, it is that time of the year. It is the end of the year. Imagine that happens. Now, everyone's making their kind of games of the year list, and so here's mine. As with most, I think, YouTubers, kind of my game of the year list or whatever includes stuff that I played this year, not necessarily things that came out this year. However, for like the first time, I don't know, almost ever, 99% of my list is actually stuff that came out this year. I don't have a massive one. I didn't complete 50 games this year. I think I beat maybe 15 or something. I played a bunch more, but only completed that many. So yeah, so this list is somewhat in order. The top 3 are definitely in order. So we'll get to that. Now, before I kind of get right into the official list, there are some not RPGs that I played this year. I know, it's a shocker. I don't play a lot of those. But, and there was a couple that were really good that I had a lot of fun with. And so I just wanted to quickly mention Hi-Fi Rush and, surprisingly to me, Power Wash Simulator. I never would have thought that that would have been a game I cared about, but it came on PS Plus and Game Pass, and trying it out, it was very zen, right? Just kind of chill, stop thinking, and actually really enjoyed some time with it. I didn't finish it or anything, but just the time I had with it was actually pretty nice. Also, Story of Seasons. These are those kind of cozy like farm games, right? I played both Friends of Mineral Town and Pioneers of Olive Town. They just worked perfectly for me in very specific situations, right? I went on a trip with my wife, which was super awesome, and when we had downtime, she'd watch a show or whatever, or read a book, and I had a little Switch Lite and was playing those, and they just were very perfect for that time and place. Yeah, I mean, that's like the list, right? I played like a couple other games. I only tried out for a little bit, but none of them stuck, so whatever. I want to talk about my backlog from this year. The ever-growing backlog, right? But from 2023, they have so many good games. There's just so many. And so there's a whole list here of just ones that I didn't touch that I want to, right? And so I just want to quickly mention those so that if it's not in the list and you're mad, you know why. I just didn't play it. I mean, it might have not been in the list anyway, but whatever. Here. All right, so these aren't in any particular order just because I have no idea how good they are, right? I haven't played them. So my backlog includes some incredible games that I've heard lots of stuff about that I just haven't gotten to yet, right? Octopath Traveler 2. I've heard almost nothing but glowing reviews on this game, so I really want to play that one. Eternights, that like dating action RPG, I've heard actually pretty good things about that too. Like not perfect, but good. I want to play that. Lies of P. That's probably the easiest one to get to because it's on Game Pass. I just haven't done it yet, right? So that's another one I want to try. It looks really good. Lords of the Fallen is another kind of Dark Souls-esque game that looks really good. I've heard fun things about, so I want to try that. Forspoken. Obviously, this one has had a lot of bad press from the beginning of the year when it came out in January, but there's enough there, and especially when you can get it cheaper, I feel like it could be fun. I don't know, maybe I'd hate it, but I just want to give it a shot. So one of these days. Trinity Trigger is definitely kind of like a lower JRPG, right? It's not like your high-end stuff, but I still think it looks fun, and so I want to give that a shot. It was on my list coming into the year, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So Disgaea 7. I love the Disgaea games. I never played 6, but I didn't hear great things about that. Anyway, 7 though I've heard good things about. So I really want to play that. I love strategy RPGs. They're one of my favorite genres, so I'll get to that. And then surprisingly, at least to me, Star Ocean Second Story R. This is a remake, right, or a remaster, whatever it is, of a game that I played when I was a kid. And I loved the game, but I don't know, I just didn't think much of this release. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. But then it came out and has had nothing but stellar reviews from a lot of people that I trust their opinions. So I think I'll be checking that one out at some point. We'll see. Okay, now here's a quick list of some games that I played a little bit, but I haven't played enough to feel like they should be a part of like my best games of the year, okay? And again, this isn't really in any particular order because I don't feel like I played enough to really judge them against each other. I tend to prefer to at least finish the main story if you can. But anyway, Wild Hearts. If you guys haven't played that came out early this year, like I think February, and it's a very Monster Hunter-esque game, and it's actually super fun. In the beginning, it had some real technical problems, but I think for the most part, that's been kind of ironed out, and it's super fun. I have really enjoyed it. Still download it on my computer. I still get to it once in a while. It's on Game Pass, so if you wanna, or I guess EA Play, which is on Game Pass, right? So give it a shot. I mean, it's. If you do it that way, it's just with your subscription, but it's pretty fun, and I found it really good. Wo Long. When this first came out, I think it came out in March, I was playing it again. It's on Game Pass. Really, really enjoying my time. I can't remember. I think like Hogwarts or something I got, but something else came out that took my attention, and then I never jumped back in. But I love my time with Wo Long. I want to get back to it and finish it because I just really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was really good. Diablo 4. People kind of love or hate this one, right? But I played it some with a friend, and we had a good time. It was just fun, you know. You just kind of running through and destroying enemies and picking up loot. I mean, it's the Diablo loot, right? That's just what you do, and I enjoyed that. I think it was a fun time with my friend. I think that if I started over by myself, because I don't want to use that character, right? That's like for us, but I probably would have fun by myself, to be honest. Like, it's just a good loop. I just haven't, because there's been so many games this year. But I have enjoyed what I've played of it. So, yeah. Jedi Survivor, I just started. Literally yesterday, okay? I just started, so I'm only 30 minutes in. I'm lucky, I think, because in the beginning, also kind of like Wild Hearts, it had a lot of technical problems. And right now, it does not. And everything I'm playing is gorgeous, and I'm really excited for this. I loved Fallen Order like a lot. Really, really fun. So whether this is an RPG or not, that's kind of, you know, up for debate, but I mean, it's got a lot of that similarity. So I really enjoy the Fallen Order game. I think Survivor's gonna be good. I've enjoyed the first half hour, but that's nowhere near enough time to judge it, right? So yeah, so I'm gonna get to that, but that's been good. Here's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys remember this. This game is called Tales of Iron. Now, this is like rats versus frogs, and it's like a 2D Souls-like kind of, you know, think Hollow Knight, but its own thing. And dude, it's super fun. I'm very fortunate. My wife got me a Steam Deck for my birthday / Christmas, so I've been playing it on that, and it's been tremendous. I have really enjoyed it. It's got a really interesting story, and the narrator is really good. The combat's awesome. It's hard as nails, but it's fun. I really like it. So yeah, again, I'm pretty early in on that one. I don't know how long the game is, but I haven't finished it, so it's on here. Starfield. I could probably take that off the list, right? It's like, I had some fun with Starfield, but I got bored, which is why I quit. So yeah, well, oh well. Hades. This one didn't come out this year, right? But I spent some time on Hades, and I like it. I'm not the biggest roguelite fan, you know? Like, that loop is okay for me for a little bit, and then I get bored of that pretty quick. But Hades was incredible, and I didn't finish it. I got to Hades, I don't know, 3-4 times, and every time just got wiped, even when I had what I thought was the best build. And so that kind of killed it for me, right? Because I'm like, I don't know what I'm missing. Now, I probably should have stuck with it a little bit more, but because you have to do it several times before you start getting to Hades, then it's like, you don't have enough time to kind of figure it out. And that just kind of pisses me off. but either way, I mean, Hades was good. I loved it. It's great presentation. The story's fun. The characters are good. Combat's amazing. I wouldn't mind like a full story mode, but I mean, that game is built around that roguelike. And the other one that I started playing this year is Dark Souls Remastered. I never played Dark Souls games, never thought I'd like them until I think I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this year, but last year I played Elden Ring. And, well, actually, start with Code Vein. If you guys have ever played Code Vein, it's not the best Souls-like, but it's a fairly easy one. And yeah, it was a good starter. It was a gateway drug for me, right? So I played that and loved it, and then I got into Elden Ring and played like 200 hours of it. Loved Elden Ring. In fact, sometimes I still think about wanting to go back to play more, which I probably will because we got some DLC coming, which will be good. But I never played Dark Souls, so I wanted to come back and try it. So I started Dark Souls Remastered, was having a really good time. It's hard to come back to that after something like Elden Ring. It's just not as polished. And some of the kind of cheap deaths and stuff were really frustrating. But overall, I still really enjoy it. The bosses have been stupidly easy, but the levels are still difficult and interesting trying to find paths. So that's been fun. Okay, so now let's get to the actual list. I know that's a lot of games. I know not everyone's doing that, but whatever, you know, my video. Okay, so for my actual GOTY list, the truth is I only have 8 games, and really the top 3, 4-ish are like the real GOTY, but there's some games in here that were really good, and I felt like I need to mention them. So at the bottom here is Persona 5 Tactica. Now, I have a review of this on the channel, so link to that below the like button. But Persona 5 Tactica is a good turn-based tactical strategy RPG, right? It's fun. The story is okay. It gets better as you go. In the beginning, I felt it was pretty slow, but it does pick up, and it does get good. It does get interesting. It does make you start to care about characters and stuff. The combat itself was fun. I love the way they varied the levels and the requirements and stuff. I wish there was some more variation to how you did combat, you know, but it still was good. I still enjoyed it, and the mechanic of, you know, kind of mixing in that strategy RPG gameplay with Persona, with the idea of trying to knock down all the enemies and take advantage of that, I thought was a good mix. It was a fun game. I really enjoyed my time with it. Best game of the year? No, but a good game. In a similar vein, at number 7 is Arcadian Atlas. Now, Arcadian Atlas is this little indie, you know, strategy RPG as well. I told you guys I love this genre, okay? I love strategy RPGs. And Arcadian Atlas very much wears its influence on its sleeve, okay? It's Final Fantasy Tactics kind of brought into a smaller indie package. There's a lot of things to like about this game. I haven't done a full review, but I would like to, if I can. I'm going to try to do a full review of that soon, so keep an eye out for that. The problem is I felt like they needed more time. Not because the game didn't work well, it worked great, but I felt like they had a lot of good ideas that didn't get fully developed. The story of the kind of political intrigue and stuff, I enjoy that stuff, but I felt like it needed to go deeper and have, you know, more to it. The same with, they kind of have this thing with the tarot cards, very much like a Zodiac, right? That kind of idea. But again, it just kind of was like this hit or miss thing kind of in the ether, and then would kind of disappear. Or, you know, there just wasn't enough there. So I enjoyed the gameplay a lot. I love that style. I thought the classes were good. I wish there was more of that. But it's like, it's on here, and I feel like I put it above Persona 5, even though I think Persona 5 is probably more polished and has, you know, the idea is more thought out. I think I enjoyed the idea of Arcadian Atlas more. I just wish there was more to it, right? It needed more of the meat. So I feel like they deserve on there. Like they did a great job with what they had. I just want more, you know? So anyway, so that was number 7. Okay, next up at number 6 is Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Now, technically, this one came out in 2022, but it came out, at least I didn't play it till the end of the year. I finished it in the beginning of the year. And you know what? It was really fun. It was really fun. It wasn't great. The animations are still second tier, right? They're a little messy, especially the main guy, Raymond or whatever his name is. He was fine, but he looked kind of funky. But the gameplay was just good. The combat was fast, and the movement was quick, and you had lots of traversal options, and the levels had verticality to them. The zones were good. There's secrets to find, good enemies to fight. I enjoyed the story. Was it perfect? Of course not, but I thought it was really good time. I liked my time with it. It was fun and enjoyable. And so, yeah, it goes on here. It's not perfect, but it's good. Next up at number 5 is Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I like Harry Potter. Okay, so I enjoy those books and I enjoy the movies. If you don't, you might not have played this game yet. I still would recommend you do, because you don't need to like Harry Potter to find a good time in this game, right? Harry Potter, I have a review of that on the channel. That'll be linked below the like button as well. But Hogwarts Legacy isn't Harry Potter, right? But it's in that world, and you learn new spells and you complete puzzles and you find collectibles and you fight, and the combat was like the biggest surprise. It was really, really good. The story was pretty good too. The combat encounters were fun and varied. The different puzzles you could do, there's always something else you could go do. As you learn spells, there's like mini games you can complete with those. There's extra stuff at the end if you want to do that. You can replay the different houses that have minor changes. There's characters you can develop stories with. That you can change your appearance to like all different kinds of outfits and stuff. You can have animal. I mean, so much to this game. Hogwarts Legacy is just a great time. It actually can be difficult, especially if you have it on the harder settings. Combat is actually challenging, which is really cool. You're managing your gear. The gear management's only okay. There's so much of it. It's kind of like that, a little bit better, a little bit better. But I love the transmog system. Every piece of gear you get that's new gets added to the stuff you can put on, right? So you can wear whatever gear is the best, but then look the way you want from any gear you've collected so far. That kind of stuff is great. You get, like almost like Diablo, like sockets and gems, kind of like that's a different thing, but very similar. You can upgrade your armor like that. It really surprised me, right? Even because as a fan of the source material, I wanted to play it, but I didn't really expect there to be that good of a game underneath. I was a little bit worried about that, right? But it ended up being incredible. Really, really good time. My whole family played the game and loved it. And yeah, really, really good stuff. So Hogwarts Legacy at number 5. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should have put it a little higher, but the games this year were so good, and the ones I played were so good that it ends up right here in the middle. All right, coming up next at number 4 for me is Chained Echoes. Now again, this one came out like December of 2022, so it's almost a 2023 game, but not quite. So it should count anyway. It should have gone at the awards, like the Game Awards, but I think it was forgotten because it technically came out last year. But Chained Echoes was primarily built by one dude. Again, link below the like button for the review of this guy. Chained Echoes was incredible. It took a little while for me to really feel anything for the characters. Like, I don't know that I knew I cared about them at all until certain things happened. And then you go, oh, crap, I do care about these people, right? The combat, though, was so good. So good. One of the best turn-based combat systems out there. There's so much to manage, and it was absolutely awesome. Different characters you could get. There's all kinds of hidden secrets. There's stuff I didn't even get because I didn't know about it and I missed it, right? Lots and lots to do, but the animations were incredible. The story was good. The music was incredible. I mean, it just is so good. It was heavy. Some of the themes they hit, it's a very mature game. I think is good for those of us who grew up on that kind of stuff, because then it kind of brings it up with you. But man, it's hard to say enough good things about Chained Echoes. It just was an amazing experience. I was so glad I played it. It did take me a little bit to get into it, if I'm honest, right? Like, I almost dropped it in the beginning, but if you stick with it, you will be well rewarded. It was a great experience, and I highly recommend giving it a go. All right, now here we are at the top 3 for me of the year. These 3 games are all absolutely fantastic. Very difficult to put them in order, but you gotta do it, right? So for me, number 3 is Sea of Stars. Kind of like Chained Echoes in that it's a pixel art RPG, turn-based, right? But very different themes. Art style is different, the combat was different. Sea of Stars, again, review below the like button. But Sea of Stars is great. I love the influences it clearly has and wears it on its sleeve. The director, Terry, is an incredible dude. I highly recommend go watch like an interview with that dude. He's awesome, and his passion really exudes. But this guy came out of Kickstarter. They funded their own. It's their fully independent pushed game. They got Yasunori Mitsuda to do music, the guy from Chrono Trigger. The music is ridiculous. The story is good. I have only ever teared up at maybe 3 or 4 games ever in my life. Not to say I'm some macho man, I'm not. I tear up plenty on other stuff. But for whatever reason, games has never been a thing for me. And 2 games this year made me tear up, and this is one of them. Man, incredible story, character development, combat was super fun. You were constantly engaged. The way it made you move, and always, it seems like you're always kind of just pushing a little something. It wasn't a lot, but it just was enough to keep you constantly engaged. Combat was surprisingly challenging. It looks like it would be easy, and many times it's not. Puzzles actually make you think sometimes. There was just some really amazing ideas in this, and yeah, I just loved Sea of Stars. I mean, the mini game Wheels was ridiculously good. I could get stuck on that for hours because I love playing it. Yeah, I mean, really good stuff. So if you haven't played that, highly recommend you get Sea of Stars to go. It is fantastic. All right, final 2. For those of you who've been watching this channel, you probably already know what these 2 are. However, the order may or may not spread. So, this next game, man, it's been really tough to decide between these 2. They are like this for me, right? It's like either one could go. And I'm just gonna do it, right? So for me, number 2 is Final Fantasy 16. 16 blew me away. I love Final Fantasy. I've grown up on Final Fantasy. It's my favorite series, and I love most of them. You know, few that aren't my favorite, and you know, I'm not gonna complain about all of them like most people do, because that's stupid. Final Fantasy 16 had an incredible main character. Ben Starr voiced Clive and gave one of the best performances I've ever heard. I was emotionally attached to the story and to these characters. This is the second game this year that got me teared up at a couple times. And what an incredible experience. Like, I have my kids are too young to have played it, but I would let them in at certain parts of the game, and so they were invested. My wife was somewhat invested. The story was so pulling, right? And I love the combat. I do wish there was more RPG elements to it, right? I wish I had more control over the build of my character, maybe even some choices in the story, but the story they told was so good. And the combat, once in the beginning, I was worried it was going to feel samey, but as you develop and grow the character, you can really have a lot of control there, and it was super fun. I mean, the look of the game, it looks incredible. So good. And I mean, the icons, dude, some of those battles, the battle with Titan, oh my gosh, that fight was ridiculous. So good. Probably the best moment of the year in games for me was that fight. So incredible. Yeah, 16 was just an amazing game. Again, link below the like button for a review, so check that out. This game is good, and you've got to play it if you haven't. Not everybody has loved it, and I think a lot of that has to do with that lack of RPG elements, right? Like, there's some, but you don't have as much control as you want. And I agree with that sentiment, right? Like, I wish there was more. I want more of that. If they added more, this game probably would have been number 1 for me, right? Because that was really the thing missing in the gameplay for me. But still, overall, was an incredible experience, and I absolutely loved the game. This was my front runner for Game of the Year until number 1 took over. And if you've been watching this channel, you know exactly what game this is, and that is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, I think that the story and characters aren't quite as strong as Final Fantasy 16. However, the gameplay and the actual RPG stuff of Baldur's Gate 3 was so good. I spent hours building out characters and figuring out how to make them the best they could. Delving into every character's story, finding the nooks and crannies that have little stuff. You know, finding out that I fought this one boss and someone else didn't even have to. Or that I talked some guy into killing himself and somebody else had to have this huge battle. Or finding this amazing sword that this person didn't even see, or this person having some amazing weapon that I have no idea where they got it, right? I mean, the depth of this game was ridiculous. It is so incredible. Like, the experience of playing this game, of finding out secrets, of trying out builds and changing out, you know, the way you attack things. Talking with my brother and how him and his friends who are playing it, how they're dealing with things and versus how I dealt with things. Making fun of them for a boss that they had a really hard time with that I just completely destroyed, right? I mean, these different kinds of things like this, there's just so many ways to play this game, so many options. They looked into, you know, 1% of players might do this, well, we gotta have something there for them. And it's amazing. The story itself was good. Some of those fights are insanely epic. I do feel like the main story wasn't as engaging as I would have liked. The side stories, however, were ridiculous. So good. Character stories, you can get invested in them, and their stories are deep, and you can go around finding out stuff, right? I mean, so many things. I don't have a review for this on the channel. I've been working on one. I've been writing one, but it's so difficult to write a full review for this game for me. But I'm working on it, so I'll get that out eventually, you know, by the time no one cares anymore. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 was an experience, and if you haven't experienced it, I highly recommend it. I've heard great things about the console port. I played it on PC and loved that, but if you're not a PC player, I've heard the console stuff has only had good reports. So wherever you can get it, get it. If you're a physical collector, they just announced a physical edition. Okay, it's more money because they added stuff with it, but if that's what you care about, go get it. Okay, whatever you gotta do, you gotta play this game. If you're an RPG fan at all, which if you're watching my channel, you most likely are, you owe it to yourself to play this game. Even if you are primarily a JRPG player. I know a lot of you guys are JRPG people, okay? And that's great. I love JRPGs. Expand your horizon a bit. This isn't a JRPG. It's a CRPG. Whatever. It's an RPG. It's a game with a story and stuff that you can manage and control and change and decide for your character to build them up. You'll just give it a shot, okay? I can't encourage that enough. And if you've played it, you already know. And if you don't like it, fair enough, right? Like, we all have different opinions and different games we like, but to me, Baldur's Gate 3 was so good. I played, I don't know, I think it was like 120 hours and am already kind of ready to go again. So there wasn't so many games this year, I'd probably already been playing it again. That's it for my games of the year. There were so many good games released this year. Lists like this are super difficult. But down in the comments, let me know what your games of the year are. Top 10, top 5, top 3, you know, whatever you played this year. What were your best gaming experiences that you got to have this year? Share it in the comments. Let's enjoy gaming together. It's been an incredible year outside of the layoffs, right? And I don't tend to do a lot of news, but it's hard to leave something like that off. You know, all these developers that lost their jobs. It's horrible, right? It's just awful. And you know, wishing them the best. And I'm really hoping for gaming as an industry that next year we can have amazing games with people keeping their jobs. That would be tremendous, right? Anyway, let me know what have you enjoyed this year. What have you gotten to play that you liked? Let's just talk about it. Again, if you are curious, check out below the like button. I'll have all the reviews for the games that I have a review of, and I'm working on the rest. Okay, so we'll get to those when I can. I am really looking forward to 2024. There's a lot of good stuff coming, and I think we're gonna have a good year. So stay tuned. We still got videos coming out every Thursday. Make sure you do all the YouTube things. Hit that like button, right? Subscribe if you're new. We got a good year coming, so stick around, all right? As always, thank you so much for watching. Good hunting.